Aloha, Kalama, Iki, and good morning to you all. I wish I could say it's good to be with you, but I'm not technically with you. But it's good to be seen, I guess I can say that. Anyway, this morning I wanted to talk to you about favorite animals. So I think at some point most everyone has had a favorite animal in their life. I'm sure if I asked you right now, what is your favorite animal, you can probably think of some creature or other that you really like. What's funny for me is growing up, my favorite animal has changed. It's been one thing and then it's been another. I think when I was younger, it was an eagle, maybe? But then it went from being an eagle to being a falcon or a hawk, right? It's just, those birds are cool. And then at one point, it was the wolf. I really liked wolves. I thought wolves were cool. I thought it was cool that they hunted in packs. They just look really sleek and they're very ferocious. And, as a boy, I thought wolves were just the coolest. But then what happened is I began to have favorite animals in different areas, right? So like, oh, well, for land, it's this, and for the sky, it's that. And then for the ocean, it was manta rays. I thought manta rays are super cool. I actually still think they're really cool. When they're in the water, it looks like they're flying, right? They're flapping their wings, but really they're just sailing through. I hope to see a manta ray in the ocean one day. And then at one point, I began to like meerkats. Meerkats were just the coolest. I remember when I went to the zoo once, to the savannah section, the African savannah section or something like that. And the meerkats were little baby meerkats about this tall, just playing, chasing one another. I was like, oh, that's so cute. I remember thinking, what's a meerkat? Well, if you're familiar with Timon and Pumbaa, Timon is a meerkat. That's what a meerkat is. So I love these animals. But I can tell you one thing. There's one animal that has never been a favorite animal of mine. And that's been a donkey. Because donkeys are just, there's nothing really quite special about them, it seems. People have horses as their favorite animals, but I don't think I've ever heard someone say that donkeys are my favorite animals. I mean, they're cute. They make funny noises. They have super long ears, and I think that's really, really cool. And they work really hard, right? We use them, I think, with mules. I don't know. But the point is, donkeys don't really top our list of cool, special animals. But what's interesting is one of my favorite moments in the Bible actually does involve a donkey. And so in the Bible, there's this story, specifically in the book of Numbers. There's a story about a man who's a prophet of God. His name is Balaam. And it just so happened that at that time, Israel was starting to come into the promised land, right? Into the place where we associate Israel with being, right? Galilee, Lake Galilee, the Jordan River, all that stuff, right? Israel is starting to become a nation. They're moving into their homeland. But the people who live there aren't too happy about that because they're hearing stories of God doing amazing things with their chosen people, right? And they're beginning to think, whoa, this nation is knocking people out one by one. We're probably next. And so one of the kings of these nations, his name is Balak, the king of Moab, comes to Balaam and says, hey, Balaam, let me hire you to come and curse the people of Israel for me. Now, you might think cursing, isn't that some kind of weird voodoo stuff? Well, back in their time, they thought that if you could go to a god, any god, right? Because they believe that there were multiple gods. If you could go to a god and that god would pronounce a blessing or a curse on you, it actually did stuff, right? So a blessing was good and a curse was bad. Now, here's the thing. There's some truth to that. Because when God blesses you, he follows through on his blessing. When God makes a promise, he keeps it. When God promises that he's going to be with you and he chooses you to bless you, he follows through on that. And so God did that to Israel. God blessed them. He chose them. But this man, Balak, the king of Moab, says, hey, Balaam, curse God's chosen people for me. Now, what a weird thing, right? Why would you want to do that? And Balaam, who is a prophet of God, should know better, but he actually goes to God and says, hey, you know what? Let me ask God. Let me see what he says. So he actually goes to God and says, God, what do you want me to do? And God's like, don't go. You're not going to curse my chosen people for some guy for money, really? So Balaam's like, hey, Balak, I can't go. And Balak hears this and he's like, hey, I'm going to try again. Do you want to come and curse Israel for me? So Balaam again gets the offer again. And Balaam by this time should know better. Why is he going to go to God and make an offer, right? He already knows these are God's chosen people. He should not have gone to God. He already had his answer. But he wants his money. He wants an opportunity to gain wealth. So he goes to God and says, hey, God, what do you want me to do? And God's like, you know what? Go. If they come to call you, go. So Balaam's like, all right, here's my chance. So he gets on his, can you guess what animal he gets on? gets on his donkey, and he goes. Now, by this time, God is not pleased with Balaam. God is saddened in his heart because a prophet of God, a man that he already knows, that he said, hey man, don't go, don't do this. A man who should have known better gets up and goes on his way to curse God's chosen people. So God shows up as the angel of the Lord with the sword in his hand, blocking Balaam, ready to stop him. Here's the thing. This is where the story gets crazy. Balaam doesn't see the angel of the Lord with the sword in his hand, blocking his way to stop him, ready to stop him from going on this mission of wickedness. But the donkey sees the angel of the Lord. Now, why this is the case, I don't know. We just know that the donkey sees what Balaam can't. And so the donkey sees the angel of the Lord with the sword, ready to stop Balaam. And he's like, my master's gonna die if I go that way. So the donkey decides to go the other way. And Balaam gets upset because he's on his donkey, and all of a sudden the donkey just does its own thing and goes into a field. So he beats the donkey. Why'd you do this to me? Why can't you do things right? Don't you understand that I'm on a mission? The donkey gets the short end of the stick. The donkey gets beat and abused. Now the angel of the Lord shows up a second time. This time, the donkey and Balaam are walking in between two vineyards, two fields that are owned by others. So there's rock walls on the side that are forming a path. And there is the angel of the Lord, again, with the sword, ready to stop Balaam in the middle. Now the donkey thinks, okay, what am I going to do this time? So he tries to squeeze, it was a she donkey. She tries to squeeze by next to the wall to get around the angel of the Lord. Now that's fine if you're just the donkey, but Balaam's on you, right? So what do you think happens to Balaam's leg, right? Balaam's side. As they go by, it gets scraped up, it gets bruised up. And so Balaam, now the donkey acts up twice, but now it hurts him. So he beats the donkey again. Finally, the angel of the Lord stops and gets in front of the donkey in a place where the donkey can't go to the side and can't turn around. The donkey's stuck, and the angel of the Lord's there with the sword in his hand. What does the donkey do? It just plops down and sits. That's it. The donkey just sits with Balaam on his back. And I'm thinking, this is such a funny scene. The donkey just stops and just sits down. You can imagine Balaam is frustrated. He's angry. So he actually beats the donkey, and he tells the donkey, I wish I had a sword in my hand so I could chop you down right now. Can you imagine that? Like, how mad you must be at your animal that you want to kill it? Like, that's pretty bad. Now, this is the part that's intense. God, at that moment, gives the donkey the ability to speak. Now, I don't actually think that God was speaking through the animal. I actually think that the animal had thoughts it was thinking, and that God just gave the animal the ability to speak human, to be able to share what was on the animal's heart and mind. So the donkey now speaks and says, Balaam, what's your problem? Why are you beating me these 3 times? And then the donkey says, is this normal for me to treat you this way? I've been your donkey since the very beginning. Do you think I make a habit of just randomly stopping and going off course and just sitting down? And Balaam actually says, no, you don't make a habit of that. And I used to think that the crazy part of this story is that the donkey just spoke, right? That the donkey was given the ability to talk, which is pretty intense. I mean, imagine if your dog or your pet cat just all of a sudden said, hey, what are you doing? How's it? You know, like, that'd be crazy, right? If animals just spoke. But here's the crazy part. Once the donkey is done questioning Balaam, the angel of the Lord speaks and says, Balaam, look, these 3 times I've stood in front of you to stop you. And if your donkey hadn't avoided me, if your donkey hadn't went into the field, hadn't gone next to the wall and squeezed past me, if your donkey hadn't stopped down, I would have chopped you down and your donkey would have lived. What does this mean? That donkey, while it was being abused by Balaam, mistreated, not taken care of, not appreciated, even in the midst of all that, that donkey chose to save its master's life. That donkey was more like Jesus than Balaam was. Balaam was on his way to curse people for money, or being willing to do it at least, whereas the donkey just wanted to save its master's life. That donkey showed Balaam grace that day by speaking and by saving his life. What's crazy is this, you know, God shows us his grace in many ways. Sometimes through animals, right? For those of us that have pets, we know that animals are just so fun and they're our friends. But God also shows his grace through many other ways. He shows us his love and his care through our parents, through our friends. And so my question to you guys is this: what are the ways that God is showing you grace? Are you keeping your eyes open for that? Because sometimes God's grace is unexpected. It comes in small packages in ways that we don't see. So my encouragement to you is keep your eyes open every day. Look for the ways in which God is blessing you, taking care of you through the unexpected, because sometimes God is willing to even use a talking donkey.